I just wanna smoke, I just wanna drink, I just wanna roll up all my weed. That's the only thing I need. I just wanna smoke, I don't wanna think. I just wanna smoke and dream and do the things I need.
Look, it's Lala, baby. So when you see me, treat the blunt like a pinata, baby. Bust it open, roll it up, cause I be sparking daily. I just want that blue dream and
Portland here with Portland Metro Records, and we are once again at the garages in Lake Oswego, and now my guest is...
I'm Purple Matter. I'm a Portland, Oregon native, a audio engineer and producer, mostly in hip hop. I like to make everything too.
Awesome. How I come to find your work is Studio 21.
Yeah.
We've been interviewing almost everybody there except for Delgado. Please, when you were in town, let me know. Yeah, you're one of the pieces to Studio 21.
Right.
The one thing that I love, by the way, I should let you know, on my off time, I will live in a recording studio. I love
yeah.
seeing it being built, everybody's input.
Yeah.
For 8 hours, I can listen to one beat and watch it get produced, and that is actually the reason why I do all this.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it, love it, love it. One unique thing, and I will say, in Florida, I knew a guy who had a completely dead room. You go in there, you sound, there's no echo.
I love that.
And then he also had a live room. And for that reason, everybody wanted to go to his studio.
Yep.
That is absolutely the same with Studio 21.
It is.
You can actually have a live recorded, put it on a CD, mixed, mastered, done.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I love it. I love the sound. I can hear the emotion from a guitar. I can hear everything about a live sound versus just pre-recorded. How do you go about prepping someone for a session?
Well, there's a lot of different ways you can prepare for a session, and I think a lot of it depends on what kind of session you're going to be doing. If you're just going to be tracking vocals, if you're going to be doing a band session, having a whole band in there. But for me, the main thing is always about knowing your material and just having an idea of what you might do when you get in there, not figuring something out on the spot, but also just being able to be familiar enough that if you're recording something and you like how it sounds, but you discover something while you're playing it and it's different, you can still remember what you're doing, and you can add on to it, and you're not just trying to figure out what you're doing as you're playing. And I mean, I feel like I especially feel that because most of the sessions I do are vocal tracking, and so it's like having all those lyrics just memorized in your head to where it's muscle memory. And then if something cool happens, it's not an accident. You know what I mean? You're familiar, and you can kind of build off of it.
So come in prepared.
Yes. Yeah, number one is be prepared,
Don't write the lyrics while you're in session.
And sometimes that can be cool. I mean, there have been some cool moments like that, but it's more like being able to do that intentionally over just being like, well, I got half of the lyrics,
Yeah.
Something like that.
Sure. What else can someone do to prepare? So definitely learn your material, get ready to work right when you hit go. You have them in there while it's being mixed?
Yeah, I mean, I actually do prefer to do that because there's something so much more organic about being able to just work on your music right there and be like, I want this to sound like that. Rather than I try to estimate what your vision of it is and we go back and forth. It's better just be like, that right there, I want that to be up in volume or down in volume. And I feel like you get so many more of those cool experimental moments where something that you don't expect happens if you're there watching the mixing process. Or, adding little details here and there. Just being able to be like, I hear something there, let me hop in the booth and, let me add this layer, It's so much more of a flow of creativity rather than just doing a puzzle.
Okay.
Which is what it can sometimes feel like.
Perfect. And I would love to get this information.
Yeah.
What are your rates, and do you have a minimum booking?
Yeah, so my rates are $50 an hour, at least for my freelance out of my studio. It's slightly more for Studio 21 just because, as you said, you have access to the live room, the dead room, all of these different, bigger amounts of gear, bigger setups. But I don't really have a minimum. I mean, I really like to work with anybody, and I do like to work with budgets, and I like to work with any amount of time. I mean, if you just want 30 minutes and you got to record this 30-second thing that just has been driving you crazy, I'm here for it, you know what I mean? I'm just here to help people make the music and get their vision out there.
That is awesome because I don't know of another place that does that.
Yeah,
so
totally.
That's awesome. I know a ton of people are like, hey, I have this all written down. I just need a half an hour.
Right.
And everybody's like 3 hour
Right.
minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a thing, you know, and it kind of depends. I mean, there's definitely a certain amount of protecting your time and energy because there's definitely situations where it's like, I need half an hour. Well, half an hour turns into 2. Maybe they keep writing, you know what I mean? But for the most part, it's like, I want to make sure that people can still have access to that. Maybe it's like that's all they can afford, and that's fine, you know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot of times that is what it is.
Yeah.
What kind of program are you using to
So
record?
I use Pro Tools for my mixing.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
I love Pro Tools.
yeah, I was gonna say I've been using Pro Tools for like 6 years, 7 years now. I interned watching and learning how to use the program. I make instrumentals in FL Studio, which is one
Okay.
I've been using for like 15 years now. Starting to
Right.
get up there in years, which is wild. I realized it was over a decade the other day, and I was like, man, that's crazy to me.
Nice. And the reason why I push Pro Tools so much, if everybody could be on one program,
Yes.
I've had some disaster stories of so much work and the file is corrupted for trying to,
goodness.
and
Yeah, I totally feel that, and I mean, there's even been a time where I went to do a guest spot at a studio and fill in as an engineer, and I was told that the Pro Tools would work, and then I opened it and their license expired and all this stuff. It was a friend of a friend kind of thing. They had gotten it on there, and so I had to use Logic, and I had never used it before, and I was tracking a full rock band, had every single mic set up. I'm just like, what am I doing? And it's like I was just flying by the seat of my pants, not trying to look as cool as
Sure.
So yeah, if it was just one standardized program, man, I mean, it was the collaboration would just be easier, you know.
What is the difference between your Portland place and Studio 21? Same number of channels?
Definitely not. I think that the way that I would think of it is like my studio in Portland is what I would call more like a boutique studio, where it's just small. There's one live room. It's just like a 6x6 booth, and it's really just for mostly vocal tracking, some instrument tracking. But Studio 21 is like one of those kind of just full-on deals of like you could have a full band in there, you could track vocals, you could put a drum set in the dead room. It's like there's just a lot more space and a lot more versatility, and that just comes with the space. I mean, you just can't get how many square feet is that place? Like 500,
Yeah.
600 square feet in just room. You can't get that in Southeast.
Yeah, it's big.
There's just no room for them out there.
Okay, and for me, my wife and I, we are pretty much 50-50 when it comes to our partnership.
That's awesome.
Today is new audio gear day for me. So
Ooh.
after this, I am going to the store and picking up some stuff that I ordered. But the funny thing is, if it weren't for her, I would have a lot more gear. She kind of goes, it makes it more reasonable.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I will, if I want something, I'll really push it. So
Totally.
this new one, I was like, we won't need to update for a while, and we could just keep it like this.
Love
Well,
that.
she threw that back at me today. She goes, I thought you didn't need to upgrade for a while. After talking with her, she was like, you know what, I understand you want to go ahead and do it.
Sounds about right.
But boy, if it wasn't for her, I would go kind of nuts. Your wife is also in music as well.
Yes, indeed.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so she is a rapper, singer, and she actually also does graphic design. She plans shows, she edits music videos. She just kind of has like her hand in every little creative
Cool.
pocket, I would say. And we also are two halves of Want to Be Free Collective, and we do want to have a showcase. So we basically are similar 50-50 on that. But it's funny that you mentioned, being like, okay, I would have way more gear, because I feel like at different times we're both those people, which is, oh man, I really want, a new lens for the camera, so I can edit, or a different kind of computer I can edit this. And then I'm also like, I really want that guitar. So we kind of have to check each other.
Yeah.
Because if we just let, if we let that free for both of us, we wouldn't be able to walk through the house. There'd be too much gear.
Yeah.
We'd have nothing else,
I would have the Behringer 32.
I
channel.
hear that.
Yeah, I would.
For me, it'd be like the Venice F24, F32. Like
One day.
Dude,
One day.
I feel it.
But yeah, it's really neat. When I go to prepare to get new gear,
Yeah.
it's almost like I have to write an opening argument.
Yeah.
So in my head, when I'm looking at gear, I'm like, she'll probably go, "That's a smart idea. We should get it."
Yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah.
another voice goes, "She's not gonna say that." So
You have to write a great
so then I'm like,
proposal.
okay. So I always try to go, you know, what's in it for me? Everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM, which is what's in it for me.
That's right.
And so I was preparing this. I'm like, we do a farmer's market outside of all the stuff that we do.
Oh, awesome.
And I was like, the guests are gonna love it. They probably won't notice the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
so-
I definitely understand that.
So I was
part
like,
of
that's probably not my best opening.
it.
I was like, there's less chords.
But that's a really good one.
It really is. There's less chords, so in a way it'll look better to stage.
Yeah.
And so I went with that first.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, you know what, here's the winner. I'm like, if I can actually set up a lot faster, I can help with the market more.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
That was
So,
the
yeah,
winning touch.
See, you're like,
Yes.
okay, this will help me help you.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
So definitely tune into that radio station if you are trying to get new gear.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you don't want to do is say, if I get this, we don't have to upgrade for a while. That got pushed back to me a bunch of times.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because then you'll find a reason to upgrade. I know I
Oh,
certainly do.
yeah. And she was like, I thought you said we didn't need to upgrade. And at this point, I was like, well, this isn't really a need. It's kind of a want.
See, and that's
Yeah.
and that's the part of it too. But I feel that way with like my mic chain of like just because I usually use just one vocal chain, but it's like I want that to be solid gold of like people will come and be like, all right, that just sounds good as soon as I record on it. So it's like it's a rabbit hole of just like, all right, I need this preamp and this compressor. What if I had both and a little bit of each one? And it just becomes endless. But at the end of the day, I feel like especially with stuff like stage gear or recording equipment, chances are it's going to make people appreciate your quality of it, you know?
Absolutely.
And they'll at least see that the process is a little easier.
Yeah, and I would say just from the gear that I went through, a friend of mine had this really nice condenser mic in the studio. It sounded amazing.
Heck yeah.
I started bringing it out to live, and wind would come by. I'm like, oh wow, it picks up everything.
Everything.
But the other part of it is that condenser mic, it just sounds amazing.
Just sounds so much better. And I mean, you know, in a situation like even in a live setting where you can get away with using it and it is like a relatively quiet venue or at least not super reverberating, it's just so nice. Especially for something like, you know, like a string instrument, like a stand-up bass or a horn, it's just like, it sounds so crisp.
Clean, clean, clean.
Too
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah, I could go on forever about gear.
Yeah, you and I both. Definitely.
So what else is going on? I know Deborah is definitely focused on Studio 21, upgrading a bunch of stuff. Speaking of, I don't want to get too much into it, but she has this one part that is the dream of, in about a year,
Yeah.
outdoor space.
Oh man, it's cool. It's a really cool project, man. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we can definitely decide how much we want to get into it, but the concept is really cool to me. Have you heard about like the overall aesthetic?
I did.
What did you think?
The boat?
Yeah, dude.
The boat?
The shipwreck.
Yes, the
The-
shipwreck is
Oh
awesome.
my god, man.
The way that the property just kind of comes up to, I was hearing, you know, vocals from all
Yeah.
the way down to all the way up, and it was amazing how it carried.
Did she tell you that story of how she discovered why she wanted to put an amphitheater there?
No, tell
So
me.
it was really interesting. She told me this. So she was walking around, or you know, kind of like meandering around the property, kind of seeing what was going on. And there were some people that were down in that bowl that's kind of naturally formed there, and they were having a conversation. And I think they were like under a tree and everything. But she was like up there on the crest of the hill, and she's like, I can hear every word they're saying so clear. What the heck is this?
Yeah.
So she starts, you know, she goes over to the other side of the crest and then around the whole rim of it. She's like, I can hear this perfectly from any point here. This is a natural amphitheater. So like,
Yep.
I gotta do something with this. You know?
Yeah, I'm excited. The shipwreck,
Really
all,
cool,
all the
man.
other secrets that I'm sure you know, but we will not let anybody else know.
Oh, she's always got skis, man. There's
Whoa.
always something in the works.
We'll wait for that one because
Yeah.
it is going to be awesome.
Mhm.
I'm just in awe of what Deborah's doing.
Me too,
Studio
man.
21, you guys are rocking it, and
Appreciate it.
I am really trying to get involved with going out there a lot, and
Oh yeah.
and you guys have been so great at like, hey, just come on out. So
Oh, absolutely, man. And I think that that's one of my favorite parts of Studio 21, and just the energy that Deb brings to things. She's so inviting and welcoming and accepting, and she's just like, yeah, just come hang out, just come meet people, like literally connect with people, you know? And I feel like especially, it's interesting that she works a lot in hip hop, because I feel like there is sort of a lot of like wariness with other people with hip hop. You know,
Yes.
certain groups don't want to interact with other groups, or people are like, yeah, you can come and hang out, but you kind of have to show me what you're about and prove you. She's like, you know, just whoever you
Yeah.
are, come through, be yourself, you know, connect with people. Let's make something cool happen, or have a cool moment, or just play some music. And I think it's a mindset that people need to have more of, for sure.
absolutely, absolutely. You said something pretty specific. Right now, I feel Studio 21 is locked into hip hop.
Yeah.
I do all genres, so I see
Right.
the hip hop family, but then I also know the metal family. I know the
Awesome.
country family.
Yeah.
And when Studio 21 is done, this is going to be amazing. I'm just so excited about
Absolutely.
everything that you guys are doing. If I know this right, your recording studio at Studio 21 can also wire into the live. Is that where you get the feeds, or?
There's something that we're working on there. I mean, basically, the way I want to have it set up is that it records from the board, and it has this capability where it'll record either onto a disc or directly into a laptop.
Okay.
And it's basically, I would be operating it like I'm doing live sound, but everything is being recorded. And it's going to be interesting to see how we can kind of finesse that and make that a thing, because it seems like what you'll end up with is like a really nice multi-track with a lot of like what you can do with it. Or even if you just had 2 stereo outs and you made, like you said, like a live album recording, there's still a lot that you can do with that.
So live mix it, just get the recording, or you can track it and then
Yeah, one or the other. I mean, I'm going to be interested to see, and actually there have been a couple bands that I've brought this up to, of like doing a practice run, and I was really kind of excited to see like one metal band that I was talking to, which would be really fun. So we'll kind of see who jumps on it, and who is down to be the guinea pigs.
I have a ton of people that would love to, so just
There you
let
go.
me know.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for sitting down with me. So many people have said so many great things. Lala, Wildcard, and of course Lady Dreamer.
Flattered, man.
Yeah, just your work is amazing, so congrats. Keep it up.
Appreciate you.
Awesome. Studio 21 coming live very, very soon.